All right, let's resume our journey here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip you ahead a little bit. We're just passing through another cut. There's quite a number of stops on this section. There's quite a few culverts. There's a few telegraph poles we're going to take a look at. And there's actually a couple of spurs that are there, so there's quite a bit to kind of take a look at and see. So I'm going to zip you ahead a little bit here to save some time. Just make sure Luna's with us here, just tagging along behind. So here we come alongside very close to the Blackwater River. I don't know the origins of the name, but if I had to guess, I want to say probably it's has some sort of indigenous origin. Probably the First Nations people that lived in this area called it the Blackwater. It's got a very dark appearance to it. Here's the wind blowing again. And so I don't know if it's that the tannins in the water that give us that. Here you can see there's some bits of telegraph pole. Again, we're going to see lots of them, and we're going to stop and take a look at a few of them. So there's telegraph pole, pieces of telegraph pole there, and there's some more here, and you can see more of the river here. You can see some of the rockfill that was put in. Obviously we're kind of at a bend in the river, and so they would have needed to kind of reinforce, almost like riprap, reinforce the side of the grade here to make sure it wasn't being eroded. I mentioned this in the previous episode. Every time now that I think of the Blackwater, I think of the Doobie Brothers song, Blackwater. I'll put a link to that if you have no idea what I'm talking about. So here we're going through a little cut. There are several rock cuts that we're going to be passing through. Some of the other ones we actually recorded on our way out, just simply so we could actually see something. This one's kind of low. This one's only probably 7 or 8 feet maybe at the most. I always try to judge everything off myself, and I'm just under 6 feet tall, so I don't know how well that works. All right, we have a culvert here. Some of the culverts, we can read the marker on it. So this one's 65.47. So again, that is the mileage on the Kinghorn. And so for the original line, that would be 15.77. So again, it's kind of a goofy day. As I mentioned earlier, when I got out of my vehicle, it was cold. There was no sun, so everything was kind of clouded over, and the wind was kind of chilly. It was about 7 or 8 degrees. I contemplated wearing my gloves, but I didn't, so I'm sort of barehanded. I did keep long pants on, and I had a long sleeve shirt, and I put another long sleeve shirt on top. It's one of those days where it's goofy because I feel hot with the 2 layers on, but I know if I take the 1 layer off, I'm going to be cold. Again, we just had a crazy spring. A month ago, there was still snow on the ground, so I did my first hike this year, on like the first real one on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. I was near further west, way further west on the line, near Coughlin, and there was still snow on the grade. There were still patches of snow that I was riding through, And here we are a month later, and you could see the leaves are out, the grass is growing. So we didn't really have a very long hiking season this year compared to last year, because I think the vegetation is kind of where it is now is where it was at this time last year. So here you can see this rock cut, another rock cut that we're passing through. This one's a little taller. This one's probably at least in the 10-foot range, maybe more. You can see the appearance of the rock, very sort of shale-like, very kind of slabs of rock, maybe slate-like. And you can see they're coming off, and we're going to see more examples of that. So here's the wind's blowing, and the wind is cold. So we got this goofy thing that's going on. So here we're freezing, and it hasn't been particularly nice the last few days up here in the northern part of Ontario. And our fellow Ontarians in the southern part of the province are like roasting, because they're on the other side of the jet stream, and they're getting like 30+ degrees Celsius. So quite the contrast in temperature. Anyway, so as I was saying about the vegetation, you know, it's literally, we went from not having you know, having snow to like poof, all of a sudden, you know, the leaves are out and the grass is growing. And so as soon as that happens, we kind of lose the best time of the year to hike it, because spring is the best. Man, sorry, that wind is blowing hard. Because the leaves aren't out and everything's flattened down. All the grass, all the vegetation is flattened, so we can see a lot more. So I think here there's a, I don't know, I'm just looking at my GPS. I got so much stuff marked on here. There's a telegraph pole in there somewhere. Sorry, as I try to almost kill myself. So we're gonna zoom ahead a little bit. There's got to be another culvert that we better take a look at up here somewhere. Not sure where the dog's going. We're getting into a grown-in section here. And you can see here that it's kind of coincides with a rock cut. We see this quite often, where because of the rock cut, it compresses all the vegetation in. So we're getting into this grown-in area. You can see all of these alders and stuff that are kind of growing in on the grade. So again, you can kind of notice you know, how important it is when there's no leaves, because you can start to see, you're seeing the leaves already starting to come out, and it makes it a lot more difficult to see things. Now, what is supposed to be in here, and you can see a little bit of the rock work here. There's one of those orange signs that people ask me about. That's the marker for the fiber optic cable. So here you can see this rock cut, and again, as I mentioned, that kind of contributes to the vegetation growth. We're supposed to be into milepost 66 somewhere here, but I don't see it. Sometimes what ends up happening is they pull the post out and they throw it on the ground. So sometimes it's lying beside the grade, or they huck it down the side of the embankment, or they cut it off, and you're left with kind of this stub. There's a piece of a telegraph pole. See, there's this little metal stub sitting by the side of the grade. So milepost 66 is supposed to be in here somewhere. This is the second time I've looked for it, because as I mentioned, I've been through this area before. So last summer, last August, I came in through all the way up to Ralph Creek, and then last fall I came hunting with the boys, and we kind of went on this I'll tell you where we sort of stopped, but I went through this area, and I know on our way back I very slowly walked through here and looked and looked and looked to see if I could see something, and the dog's in the big puddle beside the grade, and I didn't see anything. I can't see a little stub. I don't see the post standing up. I don't see it beside the grade anywhere. Nothing. Because you can miss them. You can miss them sometimes. I was hiking last week with my younger son Noah, and we were well east of here, east of Geraldton. There's another telegraph pole, place called Langmuir, and we actually identified all the poles, all the telegraph, sorry, the milepost markers, not the telegraph poles, and still, there were times on the, well, there was one on the way back, I think it was milepost 19, I rode right by it, right? And it was on my GPS, right? Because I was just kind of looking at something else and just rode right by it. Okay, so let's continue on here as things start to open up again. So we have a culvert here. I don't think there's a, does it have a, no, there's a telegraph pole. There's a telegraph pole that's sitting right on top of the culvert. That's the way it's marked on here. Oh, there's actually a, it's probably broken. That's why it's still here. You can actually see there's a, yeah, it's busted. What is that? That's a Hemingway. That's a Hemingway in there. There's a bunch of Dominion 42s. Usually if it's green, it's gone. That's the saying. If it's green, it's gone. We're right beside the river and you can hear the river running. Throws me off sometimes. All right, so we're coming up to another culvert. Yeah, and this is, oh, we just ran over a tie there. And so this is another, there's several concrete culverts on this section here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause here and go down and have a look at it. Okay, so we've made our way down below the grade. We're probably, I don't know, a good 15 feet down. So what we have here is another stone, or sorry, another concrete culvert. This one's, I don't know, 3-footer, 4-footer. I don't know the condition of it. I don't know how close I can get. I don't know, it looks not too bad. Looks like there's a bit of a sag to it, but otherwise, if I put that in there now that you can see it. Gotta watch, there's a whole bunch of discarded ties here. So I gotta watch where I put my feet. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we'll hop the grade and go take a look at the north side. Okay, so we're down here on the north side of the grade. I do apologize, the sun's kind of coming right at the wrong angle here, and so it's coming right into kind of the lens of the camera. Lots of growth here. You can see there's some big trees growing. Here we can see it a little bit better. It looks like there's some displacement at the other end, but other than that, looks like it's okay. Luna's having fun. What is she yanking on in there? And splashing water everywhere. All right, so what we're gonna do is we'll jump back up on the grade and just keep plugging away.